And I'm Tony Pomponio.
So, Tony, how long have you been here in the desert, and what brought you here?
Well, you know what? It's a pretty long story. So I got to go back to 1968. I was a 12-year-old boy. My parents decided they're going to leave the cold weather in Detroit and move to California. So honestly, my first stop in California was a Union Station downtown Los Angeles. I remember looking up and seeing all these palm trees, which is something I really never saw in Detroit. Okay? There's no palm trees in Detroit, all right? So we settled down for a while in the Los Angeles area, and then I moved to the San Gabriel Valley, where my father went into the Italian food business. And I grew up there. I went to high school out in San Gabriel High School there. And later, when I married, I moved to Rancho Cucamonga. So I'm working my way basically east, okay? And I had an opportunity to own several businesses of my own at the time. And I told my wife, Frances, you know what, let's sell all this stuff and let's move to Palm Springs. And she goes, why Palm Springs? I said, to be quite honest with you, I've been out there a few times. I really liked it. The climate's great. It gets a little hot in the summer. But why don't we give it a try? So we moved out here in 1995, and we've never looked back.
Wow.
Yeah. And the only thing I got to tell you, though, funny story, when we first moved here, I was driving my car, and I just felt like the air conditioner wasn't working well during the summer. And I drove by a bank, and I looked at the thermometer in the bank, said 125. And at that point, I'm going, what the heck am I doing here? If it was 80 to 90 degrees here every day, all year round, there'd be 3 million people living out here. So that kind of keeps the huge population away, and it keeps it kind of a quaint, kind of cool place to live. So, Will, why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience, your short experience here, I must say, in the Valley. Let us know. Let the folks know.
Sure. Well, it's pretty surprising. I had never really experienced hot temperatures, even just the way that you had described Detroit and coming here to California. And first and foremost, I would want to mention that Palm Springs is somewhat of a misleading name, right? The name is actually a fusion between palm trees and mineral springs that are naturally found here. But don't be fooled. It is a scorching hot desert here with a lot of sand. And temperatures, like you mentioned, 125, maybe even hotter, which is more than 50 degrees Celsius. It's unbelievable. So as you can imagine, my transition here it is a little bit of a tough one.
Well, you know what? I have to mention one thing. In our last episode, when we did our golf scene, I mean, I noticed my face was pink and red, and I had a T-shirt on underneath my shirt. You come out here with a short skirt on. I mean, you're like, it was maybe 50 degrees, and you were warm. I'm over there freezing.
Hey, you're speaking in Fahrenheit, of course.
Yes.
But yes, I mean, I still haven't fully adjusted, and I'm trying to get used to just balancing the AC just right.
You know, the one thing about the heat also is dealing with the sand, okay? Now, you know, honestly, you can go out and wash your car and park it in the garage and seal it up, put the garage door down, go up the next day, little wind blowing, your car's full of sand. Sand everywhere. Sand under your door, sand in your shoes, sand in the window frames, sand everywhere, okay? So, honestly, it's not always perfect, okay?
That's true. One of my first experiences with a windy sandstorm was the next day I got into my car, I turned on the AC, and a bunch of sand blew into my eyes. And I had to turn it off and blink that out. But yeah, I guess it's just one of the many transitions here in the desert.
Yeah, sand in the desert like snow in Calgary, you know?
Except sand doesn't melt, so you actually have to move it.
So, well, you mentioned that Calgary can get cold. I've heard that Calgary is a very beautiful place. Why don't you tell us more about why Californians should go and vacation and visit Calgary?
Calgary is a very beautiful place, and I would encourage everybody to go visit Canada when you can. And during the summer, it is very beautiful. The temperatures in the 80s even. So, and I was very fortunate to have grown up there. During the winter, Mother Nature is very good to Calgary as well. Periodically, we get something called what's Chinook winds, which it creates a beautiful arch in the sky, and it's a warm wind that goes down the mountain and warms Calgary up. So yeah, then, you know, during the middle of winter, we take off our parkas and it feels like a beautiful spring day. So, but it's all about what we're used to, what we're climatized to. So, did you know that there's a smaller population in Canada than just the state of California alone?
You know, that amazes me. You know, when you look at a map, Canada is such a huge piece of land. And California actually is a pretty big state as well. But it just amazes me over the fact that we have more people living in California than the entire country of Canada.
Yes, and geographically speaking, you're right. It is the second largest country in the world, and we have such a small population. But it's also home to a lot of really rich biodiversity and biosphere, such as coastal, Arctic tundra, of course, prairies, mountains, and even deserts.
Wow. You know, you said deserts?
Yeah.
What about deserts? I mean,
little hot pockets in Canada too, just like how Palm Springs is a hot pocket, and there's cold areas like Idlewild in California.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more. I'm really getting interested here.
Calgary is home to many beautiful skyscrapers and home to the Calgary Stampede, which is an annual rodeo and exhibition and festival that's held every year in July for 10 days. The Stampede welcomes over 1 million visitors a year, many from California, and there's a lot of Californians that compete in the world-famous rodeo. It's one of the world's largest rodeos. They also have a parade, the midway, stage shows, concerts, agricultural competitions, chuck wagon racings, and First Nation expeditions. Another one of Calgary's amazing worldwide attractions is the iconic Rocky Mountain town, Banff. Banff is located in Canada, one of Canada's protected national parks. Nearby is also Lake Louise, which has one of the most beautiful turquoise lakes you've ever seen in your life. The Rocky Mountains really have so many beautiful features, such as waterfalls like Johnston Canyon.
Wow.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Another incredible place just northeast of Calgary is Drumheller, which is home to the Royal Tyrrell Museum, containing a large collection of dinosaur fossils, many native to the area.
All this going on, all these opportunities, all these places to go. What is like the geographic areas? Like within 20 miles or 5 miles? Or it's just, you know, is it a hike here or a drive there? I mean, how do you get to all these places?
Good question. So Banff is only an hour and a half drive west, and Drumheller is only about an hour, maybe an hour and a half northeast of Calgary. So it's all very close. And our traffic is not as bad as Californian traffic.
I couldn't imagine. So Calgary sounds amazing, and a warm California hello to all our Canadian fans watching.
Well, there's also a lot going on here in the Valley, Palm Springs. So Tony, why don't you tell the audience what's going on this week?
So this episode, we will be focusing on sports. I had a chance to interview a legend, Ozzie Smith. Among many impressive achievements in his career, he set the all-time record for assists by a shortstop.
Wow, how cool is that? We'll also be covering other sports too, such as MMA and hockey, of course.
Speaking of MMA, it was my honor to catch up with our very own local legend, Cub Swanson, about his impressive career setting UFC records. But first, let's cover the start of the Palm Springs Power baseball season.
Baseball in the desert? How did the players play and the fans watch? It's like scorching hot outside.
Well, why don't you ask the president of the Palm Springs Power Baseball himself, Andrew Starke.
All right. We're with Andrew Starke, the president of Palm Springs Power Baseball. Thank you for joining us today. And what got you started in baseball initially?
Well, I was 3 years old when I started playing, and I've grown up loving the game. And then coming to Palm Springs, this is a magical place. This stadium has so much history. And Southern California, the southwestern United States, a huge hotbed for baseball. So great talent, great fans, and a great facility and community.
And so on that note, it's surprising that Palm Springs was selected to do an outdoor sport during the summertime. So how can you ease everyone's mind during the hottest month of the year that the outdoor sport is the one to tune into?
Well, baseball is always played in the summer, and it's a game that we play at nighttime under the lights, so it does bring down the temperature. We do have the largest misting system in all of California, over 2,000 feet of misting line, and then there are a lot of windmills out on I-10 for a reason, because we get a breeze, and that breeze makes it a beautiful night most nights here at the ballpark. So we'd love to invite everybody to come out and join us all summer long, and when you're here, you might as well get a cold draft beer to wet your whistle.
And let's talk a little bit more about your history with baseball before you got to Palm Springs. What was your journey?
Well, I grew up in Texas. I played high school baseball. Then went to college. I played junior college baseball in Florida. Got a scholarship to play Division I baseball in Macon, Georgia. Graduated in 2002. Went right into working in sports. I worked for the Orlando Magic and the University of Central Florida. Then I came to California, worked for a team in Long Beach, and said, you know what? I can do this on my own. So I came to Palm Springs, this great facility, this great community, and for 20 years now, we've been running Power Baseball here at Palm Springs Stadium, and you know, it's a young kid, had a dream. I was 23, started a business. I'm 43 now. A little bit of gray in the hair, but I think I've had thousands and thousands of players that have helped me bring those grays in just a little bit with fun games at nighttime.
Absolutely. And you do have a very interesting start of how the idea came to be, and that was on the other side of the country. Is that right?
Well, I played baseball growing up, and I played for teams like the Power. When I was working for the Orlando Magic, I met someone backstage at a game, just being friendly, and he brought me to California to work for him in Long Beach. And then after a year of working for him, that's when I came to Palm Springs to start it on my own and put my own flag in the ground.
And what's some exciting things that we can all look forward to, not just this season, but in the next few years?
Well, every year on opening night, we do fireworks here at the ballpark. And then July 4th, we have our great Independence Day fireworks show. So games go on all season long with elite collegiate players. We always have some sort of promotion going on, whether it's discounted drinks, discounted admission, contests, group outings, all that kind of stuff that really makes it fun. And when you come out, you're going to see highly talented young men. These men, a lot of them will go on to play professional baseball. Whether they make it to the major leagues or not, there's a lot of time and factors that'll go into that, but highly talented, competitive environment and a fun environment for fans to come out, see contests. And it's not just about seeing a baseball game. You don't have to be a baseball fan to want to come out here. You can come out just because you want a night of entertainment at a cost-effective price, and you want it right here in your own backyard.
And you can see these talented guys play here first in Palm Springs. So speaking of which, we were hoping to do the first swing of the season. Do you have any volunteers, or do you know anyone?
I think there's one player I saw around the corner. I got to go find him.
Let's see. Wait a minute. Is that...
I got this.
Really, Tony? Tony's pretty good. Maybe Tony and I should have a batting challenge. Right, you did pretty good at the stadium, but I brought you here to the batting cages to see who can hit the best out of 10 pitches.
So in other words, you're challenging me again.
I sure am.
Well, let's get this job done. Well, I got to give you credit, all right? We played some hockey, you showed me up. Played golf, I taught you a lesson. But today, the little Canadian hockey player showed me you can hit some baseballs. Good job.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
You know, we did our best out there, but I don't think it can compare to the legends like Ozzie Smith.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what, Ozzie Smith was a legend, and I had the honor of interviewing him, so why don't we go ahead and we'll visit with Ozzie Smith. Hey, folks, we have the pleasure to have Ozzie Smith with us here today. How you doing, Ozzie?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How's your game today? You ready to play?
Well, it's always good on the range. Just being able to transfer it from the range to the course.
So are you going to be doing any backflips out there today?
Not intentionally.
Well, you had an illustrious career. Believe me, I've followed you for many years. I'm an old Detroit Tiger fan, so and later on migrated out here as well. So I know all about the St. Louis Cardinals.
Smith corks one into right, down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run, and the Cardinals have won the game.
There goes Harris on a ground ball. Alisea at the second for one. The double play. What a double play by Johnny Harris is going, bearing down on Ozzie Smith. Alisea up in the air. Harris tries to roll, block him out of there. And there it is. What a double play. You're not going to see any better. I'll guarantee you that. Look at that play.
We were off to a slow start this year, but yeah, I had the good fortune of starting my career in San Diego in 1978, and then I got traded for Gary Templeton in the winter of 1981, and so the last 15 years were there in St. Louis.
Yep. Well, you got a World Series ring. That's great, right? Yeah. And multiple achievement awards. So, you know what? We don't want to keep you too long. We thank you very much for taking the time out to meet with us. And I think your next stop is going to be the dining hall, right?
That's right. Going to get something to eat.
All right. Well, thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Wow, how cool was it for you to interview the legend Ozzie Smith? I've heard that some of his original baseball cards could be worth like $4,000.
Well, wow. Check your closet, folks. You might have some real gems worth a lot of money now.
All right, well, let's hear from Cub Swanson, who was born right here in Palm Springs.
Hey, folks, how you doing? We're here at the Grand Fury Invitational Celebrity Golf Tournament, and I was fortunate enough to run into one of our locals here, Cub Swanson. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
We're doing great. So you ready to play some golf today?
I'm definitely ready to play some golf. It's, you know, I look forward to doing this every year. This is my third year, and it's a good excuse for me to get out here and, you know, give back and, you know, let my kids enjoy it at the pool, at the hotel, and let Daddy come play some golf.
So how about that? You know what, Cub? We've been following your career here for a few years. Every time I drive down 111, I see your picture on the side of one of the buildings there. So when I saw you coming up, I knew exactly who you were. So what are you up to these days?
You know, I'm still staying active. You know, I feel blessed to have that mural on the wall, me and Tim Bradley.
That's right.
Is another local hero. We went to high school together, so it's an honor to be represented. But, you know, I'm still fighting. I'm doing a lot of things. I'm commentating. I'm doing. I'm managing fighters. I'm coaching fighters. I'm trying to give back, and I'm trying to slowly step out. And I got a couple of fights left in me, but we'll see what happens.
Explodes with unpredictable techniques, and he's got real power. As we said in the pre-fight, he has a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but you rarely see him fight on the ground. When the fight goes to the ground, though, make no mistake about it, Cub Swanson is excellent on the ground. As far as his movements. Good right hand that connects. It's the speed of Cub Swanson that's making the difference here in this third round.
Oh!
Nasty right hand.
And again.
Another. And another.
Teeing
and
off.
Another.
He hurt him. Looking to finish the fight. Swanson all over him.
Cub, thanks so much for being here with us. I know you want to get on the driving range and hit a few balls and get ready for the tournament. So thanks again. Appreciate it.
Yeah, make sure you guys don't film me while I'm warming up, but I appreciate you guys.
Hey, you know, one last thing I want to add. If anybody wants to follow you, how can they find you?
I'm at Cub Swanson on Instagram and Twitter. I try to, you know, put out as much as possible. Nowadays, it's mostly pictures of me and my family, but if you could follow me, I'd much appreciate it.
There you go, folks. Cub Swanson.
Impressive. Well, there's one sport that we haven't covered yet.
Hockey?
Hockey. Yes, I met up with hockey legend Sheldon Souray.
How about that?
All right, we're with Sheldon, and you're known as for your heavy slap shot in the NHL, which is pretty cool. Tell us about your career in the NHL.
My career, well, it's been over for a few years, but I can say it went fast. You know, when it's over, you think it's going to last forever when you play. And I had a good career. I was hurt a lot, but you know, for a Canadian kid to play in the NHL was a dream come true.
Absolutely, it is. I'm actually from Edmonton, and you played for the Oilers too, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So a little bit of a connection there. So on the note of kind of a Canadian dream to play in the NHL, what did it take to get to that level?
You know, I think it takes first of all, a really good support group. Your parents are the ones who I think make the most sacrifice. I mean, they got to take you to practices and early mornings, and you know, and then for a player, an individual, you miss out on a lot of things. You know, you get homesick, you have to move away, and you're missing parties and graduations, and but at the end of the day, it's like a small sacrifice to live your dream, right? And everything takes a little hard work, but it was sure worth it at the end of it.
And now you're here in Palm Springs, and you're here for the Grand Fury Foundation golf tournament. So how did you make it here, and how did you get involved with this?
Well, growing up in Edmonton, the Oilers were, you know, a huge part of my life, and you know, I played for Edmonton because it was important to my parents to kind of see me wearing an Oiler jersey. So I played at a couple different things with Grant, a couple different celebrity things, and Wayne Gretzky got me up to Idaho about 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. So to be around like guys who were really idols when I was growing up is a pretty cool thing. So anything that these guys ask of us, it's easy to do.
So you're playing golf today. Can you tell us about your golf experience, so to speak?
My golf experience, well, it's more frustrating than anything else I've ever done, but it's a lot of fun. As soon as I retired, you kind of have a whole lot of time on your hands, and it seemed like the guys that I was hanging out with played golf, and I just kind of got into it. And it's something that when you're not that good at it, you just want to keep going and working to get better. But it's a fun game. It's probably the best investment I've ever made in my life was in a golf membership because of the people that I've got to meet, including Gretzky and Messier and Fuhr. I mean, it's kind of a big deal for Canadian kids. So I love it, and I'm going to keep trying to get better.
Awesome. All right. And what's the future for you as well?
The future for me, good question. Well, get better golf is that's the first thing. I don't know. I've kind of been lucky to meet some great people in the second chapter of my life. When you retire, it's kind of it can be like a bit of a difficult road just because you've known one thing your whole life. And so just kind of getting to meet people in the second half of my life, and opportunities have come up. And again, I've just been really lucky to have great people around me for most of my life.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on California Limelight. It was nice meeting you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
It was neat to interview Sheldon in California, but he's originally from Elk Point, Alberta, which is about a 5-hour drive northeast of Calgary.
He played on several different teams, but it was cool that he concluded his NHL career playing on the Ducks in Anaheim, California.
Top trends. Disney released the newest live-action version of The Little Mermaid, directed by Rob Marshall, starring Halle Bailey as Ariel. Co-starring is the one and only Melissa McCartney, who plays the sea villain Ursula. This movie was anticipated to be a box office success, but became even more successful than anticipated by raking in $117 million over the Memorial Day weekend. While there's a lot to celebrate with this movie, such as advancements in CGI and technology and art, we can also celebrate inclusion and diversity. Disney's version of The Little Mermaid, released in 1989, depicts Ariel with a pale complexion and vibrant red hair. However, the even more original Little Mermaid story was written in 1837 by Hans Christian Andersen. That version is sad, heartbreaking, and horrible. It is a twisted tale from the Dark Ages and is considered unfit for a children's story by today's standards. I don't want to ruin the original book if it's piqued your interest, but the point of the original is that it's full of obsession, betrayal, and tragedy. However, in 1989, the Disney fluffed-up adaptation of the 1837 classic did not receive nearly as much backlash for reimagining and virtually manufacturing the version that we're most familiar with. Now, I don't want to burst anyone's bubbles here, but mermaids are mythical creatures where their lower half of their bodies are fish. So what mermaids look like is really up to anyone's imagination. What do you think about this, Tony?
Well, to be quite honest with you, I can't wait to go see Little Mermaid.
Me too. We can go. Let's go this weekend.
Oh, sure. Let's do it. Okay, up next is a tribute to Tina Turner, who passed away on May 24, 2023, at the age of 83 years old. She was born on November 26, 1939. She rose to fame in the early 1960s along her then partner, Ike Turner. After separating from him in 1978, Turner embarked on a solo career. Her debut solo album, Private Dancer, released in 1984, won 3 Grammys and sold more than 20 million copies worldwide.
Wow. Well, we can take a moment to reflect not just how influential she was in the music scene, but how she also inspired many people through her adversity and her tribulations. Her early years started out fairly poor, and her parents separated at a young age. But it was her marriage to Ike Turner that really took the cake, as she experienced severe domestic abuse. But her bravery to move on and speak about her experiences was also empowering and inspirational to many, even well into her later years.
And in 2021, Tina was inducted on her own into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Tina, welcome on your own to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Wow. So, Tony, what are some of your memories that you have of Tina Turner in her career highlights?
Well, you know what? I remember back when it was Ike and Tina Turner, and they were awesome. I mean, they were all over television. They just rocked. Okay. And then later on, we heard of some of the turbulence that went on in their marriage. And then I really think she blossomed when she went on her solo career. And, as a young man, the one thing I can always remember her on that stage, shaking those legs, man, doing her deal. I'll tell you what, man, I just got, whoa. But, the thing that I really thought was very cool is when she did, I believe she ended up moving to Europe and marrying a gentleman, I believe was a European. She just continued to stay so young looking and so vibrant. She still used to perform and really, really rock the house, I mean, to me, she was a phenomenon. And to hear of her passing really kind of blew me away, because I always see Tina Turner the same, from the days with Ike to the last time we saw her performing. What a talent. Big loss for all of us.
Well, that was really well said, Tony, and it is a really sad loss to see her go. Well, but that wraps up things for today. If you have any current events or topics that you would like us to investigate, find us on Facebook, or you can email us at CaliforniaLimelightPS@gmail.com.
Thanks for joining us, folks, for another episode. Hey, we've learned a lot today. Thank you, Steph, for all the details. We really appreciate it. I'm Tony Pomponio.
And I'm Will Steph Wilson. See you next time.